All right, last part. Uh, so we have expectations for the leaders, but then we get also hopes for transformation. That exile won't get the last word, but that God will move. And so places like Isaiah 40, comfort ye my people, saith your God. Speak comfortably to Jerusalem. Tell her that her warfare is accomplished, her iniquity is pardoned. So in the desert, make a highway for our God. Make the crooked places straight, the rough places plain. This expectation that God's going to do something new, and the people have to get ready for it. Ezekiel 36 and 37, the dry bones, the new heart, all of those kinds of expectations that God is going to bring about transformation in ways that are completely new. But in the midst of that, when the Israelites get home, we get texts like Isaiah 60 and 61 that call for the people to rebuild the former devastations, to persevere, to wait, to be a people who aren't afraid to keep persevering in the hope that God is going to do profound things. Um, and so I want us to think about that a bit. That we've had this issue of empire and the theme of empire and the way that relates. But what it means to be a prophetic people. So I would love if you have some time left this morning, and you may be out of time, but I'd love if you just have a few minutes left for Brendan to take just a moment and maybe think about this relationship between the priest, the king, and the prophet. And to think about what does the king represent in terms of principalities and powers, and what's the concern that the priest somehow connects with the king, becomes validation for the king. But what does it mean for us to live prophetically for the for the prophet who embodies God's way and God's purposes, God's justice, to speak truth to power. But ecclesiologically, then this raises questions about who are we as the church? Are we part of the king's power? Um, are are we priestly? I mean, I think there is a priestly role, a day-to-day kind of spirituality. But the question, and I would love for you to discuss the way this relates even to people of the truth. Are we a people who see the validation of the king as what we're supposed to be about? I mean, what's our relationship to the king in that? But then, what is the prophetic role? But do we really want to accept that prophetic role? I mean, how does this tension between the prophet, priest, and king, how does that relate to where we find ourselves today as the church? And so, I'd love for you to discuss that a few minutes. Um, Again, I'm sorry I'm not with you today. I'd love to talk about this with you, but I know Brendan's going to do a great job. But I hope you have a great morning, and I'll see you again Wednesday morning, and I'll see you live and in person Friday morning. Have a great week. Blessings.